League of Legends, where do I begin? I've been playing this game for a long time now and wanted to just point out some things I've seen along the way. I wish I was able to hit Masters before making this video, but recently hit Diamond 3, so I thought that was an okay rank. I've been playing this game since Season 7 and I experienced a lot, and I want to just talk about a couple of points of what I've seen. This might sound like a giant mashup type of thing, so maybe I can do more videos where I break down each segment of the game or each lane specifically, but for now, I kinda just threw it all together. First off, the game is good. I know that sounds crazy, but when it comes down to cosmetics and champion abilities, some are pretty unique. Viego is a really fun champion to play once you get a takedown and take the enemy's soul. Compared to some other games, the skins really do shine. It is kinda hard to tell when your character is ant-sized, but the animations and color changes to spells make the characters more appealing. The art team, and especially the splash art, they do a really good job at skin designs. Not to mention, it is also fun to group up with 4 other friends to play the game. I'd say the only real thing holding it back is that it's the same map every game, but there are so many different champions now that it makes every game feel different. It's a lot of fun to switch it up with different characters and mess around, but the moment you bring rank and winning into the mix, you start heading down a path you cannot go back. Before I go into my hatred to everything about this game, I'll just give a brief backstory. I was pretty young. My friends in school wanted me to play this game in the early stages. I said no. The graphics were like shit and I want to play World of Warcraft. And a quick side note though, I actually started playing Classic again because they had the whole hardcore thing, and honestly, most fun I had playing a game in a very long time. But anyway, back to the League. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing I didn't play back then, but I feel like things would have went differently if I played when the game first came out. I honestly feel like I could have been a higher rank if I played when it first started, or maybe just hate my life more. Some odd years later in Season 7, my friends started to play again, so we 5-man normal games, which was fun. I was very bad when I started, and I didn't know much. I one-tricked a lot of different champions and roles. I started with Akali and it was popping off in every game. I was throwing it back on everyone, and bronze of course. I'd always be like 20-4 and lose games because I couldn't end. I didn't know how to. I got to silver and then they reworked her again and I became trash. I absolutely loved laning with the old Akali. I thought it was better than the rework, even though the rework was kind of OP. Then I played Jack's jungle, which got me gold. Then they buff nerfed a lot of different builds, but man, I mispressed the attack Jack's jungle. It was so OP. You could jump on someone and that's it. They're cooked. They couldn't do anything. If I had more game knowledge, I could have easily climbed back then, and this was my first season playing. And then I played a wide variety of champions. I was decent at Yasuo and Yone until they nerfed the items. Then I played a lot of different roles and champs and was having a good time, but I could never carry my games. I think my peak was when I played Yone, but playing that champion in today's meta is hard, and I kind of dislike how the game's been working. I also made a guide for him in Lilia mid, but not a lot of people read those anymore and probably don't even realize. Let's start with the community. Out of every single game I have ever played, this has to be by far the worst community. You'll get bronze people commenting on clips on how you could play better and then shit talk the game for one mistake. When I went on my L streak, I think at least one person on my team was typing all game, and when I was winning, my team didn't type at all. I like getting called a monkey as much as the next guy to go offline, but people type way too much. I swear people only enjoy ego gapping others and can't admit to their mistakes. Countless times I'm pinging for dragging or warning pings to not engage, and then boom, I'm having the most diabolical conversation with this one IQ person who's trying to defend themselves saying that they are right when they are clearly not. No matter what elo you are in, people will say the infamous lines of, "This is not my account," and for some reason their account is always one rank higher. Somehow everyone is on a Smurf account and it's not their main, and everyone wants to VOD review you. Like, come join my Discord, we'll review the VOD, come watch. Like, shut your ass up. I do not give a shit. You were playing poorly in this game. Like, I don't care what rank you are. But like, golds will say that they have a plat account. Plat will say you suck, my main is diamond, and even in diamond I had people saying you'll be hard stuck diamond, I'm GM. It doesn't stop. People rather type than play and tell you you'll forever be hard stuck in X rank. Sometimes I play to see just how dumb my team can be, and they surprise me every game. This is probably my biggest peeve in the game, is that everyone is trying to prove how they are right and better than everyone else instead of improving because they can't be wrong. The thing about typing is that no one is seeing what's happening in your lane. Most common thing you see in super low elo is that if you're getting dove under tower, people legit say play safe under tower, like the enemy team didn't just resurrect Oppenheimer and are getting ready to unleash a bomb on your tower. I feel like I have to be the one to type back to these people because I know they're wrong, and aggravates me. So this is a big PA. Please stop typing and play the game. I also got to chill on how much I type. No one is going to play better or learn any lesson if you flame them for wrong reasons. If you see someone typing, ignore it, let them fume, because high chance they're wrong and typing back won't solve anything either. Legit tilts me when I see stupid people type in this game. There are also a lot of situations where I do blame the jungle because I'm tilted and they cause a 2v2 where we both wipe and act like I'm the one who caused it. I didn't tell my Rek'Sai to invade the enemy jungle, but other lanes will blame me for inting with them if you go to help and wipe. Someone actually blamed me for not invading to help them 1v1 the enemy jungle, or why I didn't rotate when my lane was still mid in an early engage. This happens very, very often. People are psycho in this game and it pisses me off so much. I need a perma chat and ping mute. And I think more people should do /mute all. Sometimes pings could be helpful if you don't see something, but I'm telling you, in all my years of playing, there has not been one useful thing said in the chat that made me better at the game. And I hope that is the most useful thing that you take from watching this video. The chat is not to help the game and a way to improve. Mute it and don't type. And I admit it, I'm not that good. We all make mistakes and I've been the one typing a lot. But if I'm getting dove under tower and getting rifted on because you don't want to get objectives or gank my lane, or I'm just going to lose and get pissed if you type at me. Especially if you ping my laner as if they're the reason they're winning. Let's not mention the 5 ganks in under 10 minutes from the entire enemy team. Every game plays the same with my jungle, and that's why I have a hatred towards them, because it's an easy role. They fail to gank or play around me, enemy team then gets all dragons, they gank every lane to actually help, and then it ends with them always getting rift and crashing into my tower so I lose it. I am so serious. About 80% of my games, the enemy jungle gets rift and uses a mid, and I've been thinking maybe I just put a ward out there so I can see if they start getting it and try to 1v1 them. Team game. This game is too much of a team game. I feel like back in season 6 and 9, the carry potential by one person was a lot better. Even though things were broken, it was very easy to play well and climb if you knew the game. The game catered to players who knew how to build and win lane. I feel like this is a lot less prevalent in today's games. You don't get rewarded for how much time you actually put into this game. I do not like the aspect of it being a team game. This is the only relevant for pro players. The way they play is completely different than in solo duo. I feel like I have no control on my games. The main reason why I've struggled to win games was ganks. I hate that no matter where I go, the enemy jungle, support, top, ADC, rift, all enjoy to rotate to my lane and then take me to Pound Town. Yes, I can ward and avoid the gank, but some people legit hover for a couple minutes, so it hard pushes me off the wave, so I lose my pressure. And people do not understand how much this actually affects you when you get zoned from the wave. Laning isn't how it used to be. Micro, macro are kind of out the window. Matchmaking. This game was created years ago and I feel like the system is outdated. In every game, this is what I see. 3 people are going to play well and 2 people have the potential to ruin the game beyond repair. You got to figure out who those 3 good players are and play with them, because if you play around the bad 2, I'll tell you right now, you're losing every team fight. I just want to enter games where the teams feel balanced and it isn't a miserable game trying to carry people. I don't even know if streamers even enjoy playing the game anymore, or they just play it because it's what made them popular. I had to take a very long break from this game because of how much I was annoyed with the balance of the teams that I was getting. Like, I still play because I decently enjoy the idea of ranking up, but just the thought of having a bad and toxic teammates irritates me so much. If there was more solo play and carry potential, I'd enjoy it a lot better, because at least I have some impact to win the games. Another thing I noticed relates to loser queue. I want to say that it's real, but not as extreme as people might think. It's not like the game will be a for sure loss, but there's a higher chance you will have a day where someone on your team is going to brick the game hard. And I've had days where I play like 10 games and in each game someone goes like 1 in 10. It feels like such shit because I can't carry faster than my team is inting. I just want to play my lane, beat my lane, and then take control of the game. I don't want the fear of my lane rotating, getting fed because my team ignores pings, or I'm getting camped and pushed out of lane, or the enemy team gets rifts and chooses my tower, or the support who is mid because the enemy ADC can 1v2. If I get ganked, then pinged for help for an easy kill mid, I'm getting flamed for inting to the earlier gank in the first place. I always set my lane up for a free dive or gank, but no one ever takes advantage. It's kind of sad, and not to sound like the main character complex, but if people play around me and get me fed, there is a very high chance I'll carry the games. But I never see that anymore. No one knows who the win con is or even knows what to do in the game. Also, if you are doing a 1v1 and you lose, do not blame me for not helping if I'm not close. Especially if you are the one who engaged, lost, and then pinged me for not rotating. You lost a 1v1 that you caused. Do not blame me for that. I'm going to have a link in the description to a video about a jungle I had recently who did this. It's people like this that really make me want to stop playing. The community for this game is beyond annoying and toxic. Champion balance. There is no balance, and I think that is their logic. If nothing is balanced, then everything is balanced. And this is where I think League falls off in the sense of solo carry. I remember when I first started, I thought Anivia was cool and was playing them. The QE combo tickle people. Now it's like a hockey puck to your forehead, and it doesn't make any sense. Why is Anivia, who was the weakest champion, one-shotting people? She used to be only good at wave clearing, and I miss those days. Laning is not the same as it was. I remember Renekton too, used to do his combo like 5 to 7 times before getting the kill. Now it's a 2-shot. I hate the idea of every champion being strong enough to one-shot. The reason why the old way was better is that it allows you to lane without having fear. You die once mid, your lane is over. You're getting zoned and you can't get CS. I miss getting poked a ton of times, but still able to get my CS. They have to nerf the damage output by 50%, and I'm so serious. Fights need to last longer. That way, it's easier to lane without dying and to safely farm. For example, you get hit by one combo in lane, you might as well back because you're dead if they land the next combo. It forces people to back so frequently, it makes it hard for people to survive under tower. It's disgusting having champions like Zac build full tank and it can still one-shot the ADC. One last thing regarding damage being too strong, the worst thing is walking into a bush, trying to ward, and getting one-tapped. Or trying to get ready for a fight and get hit by one point-click root stun and you're dead because you can't move. I want to live people's full combos. I don't want to die instantly if I get hit with one CC ability. That's why Yasuo and Yone are so difficult to carry with. Because if they get CC'd, just like the majority of assassins, that's it for them. CC and one-shots are too overpowered. All the games play out the same. Who's going to get caught out and get one shot, making it a 4v5. One team finds someone and then bam, forced to 5v4 then end. Happens every game. I'd enjoy longer team fights and landing more than one ability. In reality, it is who hit in the right bush better or walked into the wrong spot to one-shot someone. I also like when a champion is OP, Riot's logic is to say, maybe it's their armor is too strong. And all they do is reduce base armor by 2 or AD by 2. Like, that's going to change the champion. Or sometimes if they're weak, they will put a buff that doesn't do anything for the champion, like plus 2 AD. I swear they do not play the game or understand how to properly buff nerf champions. Previous LP, I do not think a lot of people deserve their rank. These people probably got diamond in season 6 when the game was actually good to climb. And now they play with a 50% win rate, like 100 games a season to maintain diamond, but they don't belong there. Here's 2 references. I had a positive win rate on a semi-new account, getting 21 LP for win, like 30 LP for loss in Emerald 1. But this ADHD Nunu guy has a negative win rate, getting 30 LP while being Emerald 1. Why am I sweating my games for him to have a negative win rate, but since he was a high rank last season, he can climb back to his other rank? It's not fair. The MMR and LP system has to be fixed. I hate the myth of play more and you will fix your MMR and LP. You won't. I've played enough games to see this. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are Hearthstone Plat 4, you win 20 games at 21 LP per game initially. By the time you get to your 10th game, it's going to drop to 18 LP for a win and potentially keep going down. The MMR system does not cater to winning a lot in a row, and your LP will never recover. I want them to do a full rank reset and make everyone iron. I mean, the game will be in shambles, but I really think this is the best option to give a new fresh feel to the game. If they do a rank reset and implement ways for better LP gains and a better matchmaking system, I think this would be really beneficial. Because right now, the system locks people into 50% win rates, and the game does not want you to climb, and people just stay stuck in whatever division they're in. Carrying out of different divisions. Each division is different, and if you know the basics and mechanics of every champion, you can climb to gold easily, maybe platinum. With the new ranks, Emerald will probably be the new platinum, and platinum is now the new gold, and etc. So people can feel like they moved up a division when really it's the same thing. I don't know why they added it. The only struggle I see in lower elo is you can't really predict what the enemy team will do. Platinum is where I get stuck every time. It's where people start getting better, so it makes it harder to carry. So if a member on your team feeds in plat compared to silver, there's a higher chance they will take that advantage of their lead instead of throwing it like a silver would. What it really feels like, enemy teams get better, your team gets worse. I'd say now the majority of players are going to be Probably gold and platinum, new and old. You'd only see silver and lower if someone manages to lose all your games, but let me talk like emerald wasn't introduced yet. So iron doesn't exist. If you get there, I don't know how many games you have to lose, and I think it's impossible other than D rank each year. Bronze, probably because you're, the yearly D rank as well, since they added iron, but easy to climb. Silver starts to get a little better. Some players become more aware, but overall, they're not good. Gold is where the average players get better and knows the game a good amount. Pretty easy to climb through. Then platinum, the elo I can't get out of, is horrible. Too many toxic ego players, but worse here than any other division, and I honestly can't figure out how to consistently get a lead in this elo to get out. Like I mentioned before, it's easy to get out of silver and gold, and knowing the game and playing on a decent computer can get you to platinum. I mean, I was diamond for a little bit, but not that much was different. These players, some of them were master players because it was rank reset, so I was playing with them as well. The difference between the divisions are kind of slight. It's just players get a little bit better mechanically about dodging skill shots, CS, and then just overall how to end games. And there's also higher chances of them carrying the games. Previous challenger players. I only want to mention two briefly, Tyler 1 and Yasuo. They used to be the top in the game. Not saying they aren't still good, but sometimes find it hard to carry, even in lower elos. Mostly just because of matchmaking. When I was diamond, I got into a lobby against Tyler 1. I was the echo mid, and I dumped his jungle in mid because my jungle played better. I then went top and bot to get more fed. There's nothing he could have done to stop me from scaling, and that's the problem. No matter how good you are, you can't win the game if other lanes scale faster and then camp you. Like in Valorant, if you have good aim, positioning, and callouts, you can win a lot of games and rank up fast from knowing the game. But with League, you don't have that type of control. You would think if you were a challenger player, you can consistently end games like 20-2, but that's not the case. With me, I feel like I can hold my own in lane most of the time, sometimes while getting ganked, but the two things I struggle with most is when I'm like 3-1 and stopping my lane, but the enemy bot is like 12-0, top is 5-1, jungle is 2-3 and like 12, and this is all under 10 minutes. I am over exaggerating a little bit, but it does sometimes happen like that, and it just feels so bad when I keep hearing enemy double kill or triple kill when I'm trying to match my lane. If I can get ahead in my games early, I dominate, but if I fall behind, the game feels over, it's doomed. In one of my games, my bot and top won lanes and jungle was doing okay. I was getting camped hard by the enemy jungle support and lost lane because of it. I said, you guys better carry because I'm being stopped. Then they proceeded to flame me when my lane crushed them, which was hilarious because my lanes only had like 2 or 3 kills and they both had 6 kills each. Teams do not know how to use their kills to carry and will carelessly feed their bounties. I just feel like when I'm behind, the game is over. I can't scale faster than the enemies are. Like if you have a lead, use it well, but people sometimes don't know how to use it, or it irritates me when you got supports taking 1k bounties. Jungles should have less impact. It's not just a meme of jungle diff. I don't care if I'm getting camped, or maybe it's because champs are too strong, so you can't really skip a gank sometimes, but man, it feels bad when they have all 4 Drakes, 2 Rifts, multiple ganks in each lane, and your jungle maybe gank 3 times and into 2 of those 3. I'm not making this up. This is a common theme. I swear, when you play mid, if your jungle is good, you can play with them and it's an easy win, but it seems very rare. If your jungle is getting swept, it's hard to come back. I know sometimes people get invaded, but man, I don't know, add a jungle sentinel to stop people until like 50 minutes or something. I'd also like it if you could maybe ward more. I think that would be better to properly see where the enemies are and keep track of the jungle and supports and people roaming. Core fundamentals. League isn't even League anymore. All the fundamentals that made the game good to solo carry years ago do not really apply today. You can put hours into this game with extensive knowledge and still be on the same footing as someone who just started the game. New accounts get placed in gold after 20 games, which makes people who have been playing the game for years struggle to climb. People used to get placed in lower elo with new accounts, but now are getting placed in gold 4 after just 1 game. I would say low elo is unpredictable, but that's just every elo. People say the BS logic of where like 40% are even matchups and like 3 are auto wins and 3 are auto losses. That's not true, but it feels like this logic applies to every game, meaning that every game there's a 30% chance it's going to be an auto win or loss. If I play the game and I know a lot about it, I'd like to be able to use that knowledge to win the game, not be in lane figuring out how to scale when every other lane is inting and having a meltdown or being camped so I can't scale while they hide or freeze under tower. For this reason, why I might just stop caring about what my rank is. I got to D3, then heavily demoted. I am admitting it, I didn't play the greatest, and a majority of the games could have been winnable. But dude, if you're anyone in NA, you'll understand how stupid some of these games can be. Like, games are winnable, and then sometimes me, but usually someone on my team greeds ints, and then we just lose because we're down a player. The classic move was to have mid and top split side lanes, but this almost never works anymore. Mostly because whenever I go bot or top, I fear my team will force a fight and lose and then ping me for splitting. They ping you away from mid because they want you to go bot, but then they ping you when you're bot. You legit can't win against these people. Teams won't let you split to get ahead. It's not like splitting is impossible, because it is still possible and it's still a good strategy, but it just feels harder to accomplish. Champion guides. This one kind of falls back on the old style of gameplay. Guides are non-existent because the games nowadays are train wrecks. It doesn't matter who you're laning against or how to play the champ and knowing different matchups. It's not about the solo lane game. It's a team game. Laning does not exist. Just live, try to get some CS and rotate. Technically, it's really impactful, but hard to take advantage of in the current meta. Meta picks. People say that if you're good enough, you can climb with any champion. I do think that this is possible, but it would be a lot harder playing a champion with a 48% win rate compared to 52%. The higher win rates mean they are just better and easier to play in the current meta and yield a higher chance to win with them than others. Why would you pick the bottom 5 when you can select one of the top 5? You almost have to play meta picks if you actually want to win and carry games, and that's what I don't like. People picking off meta champions are just worse than whoever the top 5 is. Not only do you have to pick meta, but sometimes you have to pick for your team. If you have an all AD comp, that means you potentially have to go AP. I wish items worked in a way where you can have full AD and it wouldn't really matter. Teams can lose games just off champ select. Also, play to steal caps, aka ninja tabbies, are way too broken and just should be nerfed. They're too strong. New systems. Last segment is going to be a quick look at different things Riot implemented over the years. If you remember something that was not tuned right, please comment it down below. Like anything that Riot released that was just game breaking and just made the game annoying to play. Baron buff. I remember them saying, we are buffing Baron a while back to make it more impactful, but honestly, I'll admit it, Baron is too strong and it's a shame people don't use it more. The amount of games that were like 50-50 and my team is on the brink of coming back and they get Baron is GG. Killing Baron minions is impossible early game. Baron actually needs to be nerfed. People do use Baron better at higher elos than lower. Lower elos do not understand how to use Baron at all, but if you just let the minions do the work, you can push very hard and get towers. I think that was the most notable thing about Diamond, was that they used Baron efficiently. Platinum, well, Emerald now, kind of, but not really. Lower elos, they don't take advantage of Baron and they can still just int the buff when it's actually really good. Dragon buff. Now, I don't want to say that they used to be irrelevant, but it didn't matter if you missed one. They provided little to the outcome of the game. Then they said, we got an amazing idea. Dragon Soul. And at first I was like, oh shit, this is actually cool. Changing the map, if you get them, you get a nice buff. Well, at first I really liked it, but then, you know, I hate it. They buffed the percentages and then dialed them back just a little bit because they were OP. The reason why I dislike it so much, just like all things you might start to realize, is that it forces team fights for objectives because it's a team game. So if your team is weak early or weaker later, you have no chance of getting them. Letting the enemy team scale hard depending on what buffs and soul it is. Maybe if they reduced it to like 3 dragons, it could be a little bit better. That way you can get Elder Soul faster. I rarely see people getting Elder Dragon anymore, but I would like to see it happen more often. Going off of dragons and being OP, you remember friendly old Chem Drake? Remember how crazy that soul was if you got it compared to the others? A free second life meant the enemies had 0 chance if you got it. It was beyond OP if you ever got that soul. It was like a 90% chance of winning. Rift buff. They recently made 2 rifts and made them do more damage and be more tanky, and I think these changes were actually really good because it forces people to actually play around rift now. However, I hate it because the enemy team usually gets it and uses it mid, so if they nerf it back to 1 rift, I think I'd be okay. That way I can keep my towers. Positional rank. I think this would have been good if the community wasn't atrocious. It's a good idea where you get good LP in your main lane and lose less if you get filled. I like that logic, but people just abused it and trolled if they got filled, saying, my lane's mid, who cares if I'm jungle and we lose, it's whatever, like. So that mindset ruined the game and made it awkward to climb that season. Very, very bad. Quick note on every champion Riot releases is also broken. I think the worst thing is that people will always ban the champion if they see you're going to lock the new one in because they think they are bad, but they never are. When I started playing the Fury, people actually told me day one that the champ is bad and still ban them. People just are in their own place sometimes. They just released Briar. Fun to play though. I think the number one thing that tilted me pre-games was people complaining about being autofilled, but I think I will say I see a lot less of this now, which is pretty nice. Or people banning my champion for absolutely no reason. No words, people used to just ban picks. That was a bad time in the league. It made me so tilted before the game even began. Like, why would you just ban my champion for absolutely no reason? K, mid, can you swap? Like, literally, I barely see that anymore. Sometimes. The introduction of Iron, Elo, and Emerald, horrible. They did not need to add these. I will say, them removing promotion series and giving more LP for wins definitely made it feel better to climb than only getting 10 LP for wins and losing 20. You weren't moving anywhere during those seasons. From season 9 to 13, it felt like absolute garbage to play. A Cali rework W making towers not target you. I don't have any other words than that. Teamfight Tactics was really fun, and the card game, I don't like card games. The client is still dog shit. That little cubby in bot lane just gave more places for people to hide, making it harder to ward. Definitely is cool, but I don't know if it's actually was better. Switching places in champ select is really nice to try and help you not get countered, but the problem is the top lane always wants last pick because of their fear of getting countered, which forces other lanes to get counterpicked, which isn't good, aka me mid lane getting counterpicked almost the majority of the games. The jungle buff thing was good. I like that other champions can get the buffs of the jungle now. It kind of makes Ivern feel like stupid. Hiding names. It's good that names are hidden in champ select now. That way people can't be toxic towards others and roasting them before the game even begins. I wish they brought that into the actual games as well to hide a lot of stats. On the other hand, it was nice to see the names in the lobby, and if you saw you had a turbo inter or someone who previously ruined your games, you can freely dodge. But I do think that they should be able to implement a system to hide names completely, even in-game and afterwards. Mythics. This had to be the worst idea they ever came up with. I think this is what completely screwed over the majority of the champions that I played. A lot of the standard builds became bunked. Nobody was playing champions, and they were just playing the items. Like, yeah, Duskblade's cool for Darius now. While he one-shots and goes invisible, getting ready to stealth dunk on the next innocent victim's forehead. I think it's really hard to balance items and runes all together with champions. Mythic items threw a wrench and everything, but it wasn't just Duskblade. There was that one tank, but it wasn't just Duskblade. There was that one tank item, Sunfire, that everyone abuses well, along with a ton of different items. I'm sure you guys can probably name a bunch of items that they released that were just way too overtuned. There's also one item right now that is pretty OP that I'm not going to mention because I do not want them to touch. But I'm happy to say that they're finally removing this feature next season because it's so bad. Hopefully they remove a lot more power gained behind items and runes because I want to play a character because they are strong, not because the items are. The best thing they could do is nerf runes into the ground, nerf item stats in half, and make them half the price. This will speed up buys in the games and hopefully make them shorter. I think being full build at 20 minutes could be good for building items to properly stop the enemy team early before it gets out of hand. Too many times I have to build 3 different items for everyone, but I just don't have the gold, so I end up falling behind even when I'm ahead by like 3 or 4 kills. Quick RP to Gunblade made AP assassin jobs a lot easier. I love that item. Frozen Mallet 2 on Yasuo so he could be more tanky and slow the enemies. New accounts. This is what's also ruining the game. I'm guilty of doing it to reset my MMR, but it's where new accounts are placed, which kind of defeats the purpose of ranked in general. So as you know, League has 10 divisions, but I'm not sure what's the purpose of them. So new accounts used to, in placements, started in bronze and have a good chance of ending in silver after placements. Even though they are silver, they're playing against golds and could be gold soon on a fresh account. So it's like, what is the purpose of iron? Logically, it would be impossible to get there. Iron just exists as a tier from D rank from seasons if you don't play, or if you turbo in all your games somehow. So I am unsure why they added it in the first place. Then they added Emerald, which I thought was to gatekeep new accounts. My friend just told me he got a new account, and the first game he played, he was gold 4. Didn't finish placements, gold 4. First game. Why are new accounts getting placed in gold 4? Then, like, so you get league players playing for years with new players. It's no wonder why they can't carry, because they're playing with new players. The general matchmaking of the game doesn't work, and rank doesn't mean anything. They got rid of 5th tier M promos for them to add a whole 4 new divisions for almost no reason. Emerald seemed like a good idea to begin with, but honestly, I do not think it was needed at all. How I play. A final reminder, it's not like I'm saying I'm playing perfect and I deserve to be a higher rank. I do mess up and could play better, but the majority of it is that you don't feel rewarded for playing the game more. Like, you play any shooter like CSGO and Valorant, your aim can improve greatly with game sense. And this, not much can improve just because of how the game works. Now for me, my problem is that I tilt super easily and I type a good amount, which I need to stop. Otherwise, I'm a pretty good player and can usually carry my games if I snowball early. If I can get to 5-0 early, I will control the game 90% of the time. For me, I find it hard to figure out how to get to that point, and I wish I knew a duo. They worked with me to get me ahead, and then I work with them to get them ahead. I feel like I could easily climb to higher ranks faster. And even sometimes when I do get ahead, I feel like my teams think they are the ones that are fed and then just force fights without me and then just lose, and I'm just stare at them like, why would you fight? Like, you guys didn't. It was me, not you who had the kills. Anyway, so I finished gold season 7 and platinum every other season, multiple accounts in the recent seasons. A big problem for me was my internet. I used to be a lot better a couple seasons back, but I used to DC and lag in all of my games, causing me to throw games and cause losses. Now my internet is kind of better, but I still feel like something is wrong with the game. My screen or character always glitches out and it will skip backwards, or I feel like my character doesn't want the auto cast ability sometimes. And I don't know if that's a me thing or a league thing, or maybe my internet is just gaslighting me and it says it's okay, but it's really not. I'm definitely not playing as good as I could be, but there's a giant lack of solo play to utilize to carry the game. I mean, it still exists, don't get me wrong. You can still solo play and carry the games, but it feels like it's a lot less than what it used to be. For the majority of this, a lot of it is personal opinions. So don't get angry at me in the comments. I do talk like I know a lot while being a lower rank, but I can make helpful videos of what plays people should be doing and shouldn't, and what to look for just for beginner knowledge on things. I want to mind you, I was D3, and at the time, I was playing against master people, diamond people. I was, it was like top 10,000 people in NA. So I know a lot of you were probably either around the rank or lower, so I'm just going to ignore a lot of the comments if they're negative. One thing I see all the time, like, let's say I'm mid and you're the jungle. If the enemy is at my tower with no flash, and they don't have any dashes, and you have 2 options. You come mid to help me, or do the objective. Just go mid, and then do the objective. It makes it a lot safer to down the mid lane and then get the objective. And that logic applies to every lane. Too many times I see jungle starting objectives if one lane can easily be ganked, and it never makes any sense, because if the enemy jungle rotates with the other lane, chances are you're just going to lose the objective and lose the team fight, and I see that a lot. Or jungle starting objectives about sweeping when lane's back, and they try to do the objective by themselves. You would think it's common sense, but a lot of people do this. With all that, I will probably still play because I'm addicted to gambling LP and I hate it. I wish I could play something else, so please Riot fix the game. If there was anything in this video or anything you want me to try to go over in more details, let me know down below. Otherwise, I'll keep playing this game and be miserable. The matchmaking system is just horrible. The team balances suck. LP gains do feel a little bit better, but if you win a lot of games then it starts to fall off. Teams are not balanced, champions are not balanced because everyone is too strong. Laning doesn't exist and the community is just toxic. If there was more solo play and stuff like that to allow you to carry more often in games, I think I would enjoy it more, but otherwise it's kind of miserable to play. Like, I really don't enjoy playing it, but I will keep playing it and see you next time.